Hello everyone, today we have the topless edition of Getting to Know Yourself. Hello everyone, I've just finished a workout and I want to talk about, I'm so excited I'm not even going to put a shirt on because I want to talk about getting to know yourself, which is a key pivotal aspect of becoming your true self. If you don't know yourself, then you can't become your true self. We're going to go through some steps and some examples on how to really know yourself so you can really be fulfilled and live your authentic life. And as always, I'm going to start with a quote, and the quote goes, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, written by that great philosopher Aristotle in 322 BC. Now, knowing yourself is at the very start of personal growth, because until you get to the stage where you start to begin to want to know yourself and the self-esteem begins, that you really want to understand the functioning of who you really are, everything you do before that is meaningless, because you'll be confused, you won't understand your true purpose, because who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for the shell, for the skin suit that you're in, or are you doing it for your divine essence, your purpose that's driven? So the question that I have, and the question is from the United States. Hello from Texas, it says. Hello from Australia, Texas. Wow, fantastic. Well, most of my viewers are from the USA, so I appreciate the question. Hi Adron, I watch your videos regularly and they definitely have helped. However, I have an addiction to gambling and I just don't trust myself. Whilst I have learnt a lot through your videos and your book, I'm still worried about my future, and at my core level, I don't feel I know myself enough to trust myself. Okay, thank you for the question. Gambling can be a very destructive situation for a lot of people, and I think gambling really says that you don't believe that you deserve things through normal manifestation of life, and therefore you want to bet, you want to gamble, you want to risk it all because you maybe internally you don't feel worthy. So I want to give you an example. I want to give you two examples actually about knowing yourself. And the first one is one of my favorites, one of the most incredible individuals to ever walk the earth, Alexander the Great. That guy had some belief in himself. And in 323 BC, Alexander the Great was about to go on a massive campaign and basically conquer the world. Nice job, that's a good job if you can get it. But before he did, he wanted to make sure his troops and basically him himself believed that he could do it. So traditionally what would happen is if you were about to endeavour or go out on a big task or make a big decision, you went and saw the Oracle of Delphi, which was basically a priestess who would get all weirded out, say some crazy junk, and the priest would interpret it and tell you what your future was, or what the answer to a question was. So Alexander the Great rocks up and he's got his cavalry and his troops and stuff at Delphi. Everyone's like, this is crazy, like look at this, Alexander the Great's here. And he went up to the temple, and this has recently been found out through excavations in Greece on what this sign said, because there's a large sign above the temple. And basically Alexander rocks up and goes, "I'm Alexander, what's up?" Actually, oh, here we go. Fantastic, this is something I prepared earlier. This is Alexander the Great. But he rocks up and he says, "I'm Alexander the Great, check out my army, I've got to get up in here, talk to this priestess, get a little bit of clarification, and I'm going to bounce and take over the world." And they said, "No worries, you have to wait a few days." And he goes, "Nah, I'm not going to wait a few days." And they said, "Well, it's very busy, you've got to wait a few days." And he goes, "No, I'm not going to wait." And they said, "Listen, you have to, or you can't see the priestess." So he made camp, and they directed him to make camp directly out the front of the temple. And Alexander, for a couple of days, sat in front of a large stone monolith that said in Greek, "Know thyself." He's staring at this sign going, "I want to see the priestess, get this stuff done." His question ultimately was he a god? Because there was a rumour mill when he believed that he was a god and he wanted to answer this. And if he was a god, he could go out and conquer the world, his men would be safe and he'd get it done. But he had to sit there and stare at this stone slab, know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. Inevitably, history tells us that Alexander got his shot with the priestess. He asked if he was a god. The answer, historians believe, that was yes, and then he went on to conquer the world. But I think what's really great about the story is not so much that the priestess may have said that yes, he was a god, is that by staring at the stone concrete slab for so long, know thyself, whatever question he had internally that was eating away, no one was going to be able to answer externally. He had to know himself. It didn't matter if 50 people told him he was a god if he didn't believe it. And I think that's a key illustration that the most powerful man who ever lived needed to learn. That going to a priestess and her saying, yeah mate, you're awesome, you're invincible, you shoot laser beams out of your hands, it doesn't matter. Because ultimately, he needed to know and have belief in himself. So that's a great example of someone who really just needed to decide to trust himself, which I think is something you need to look at. Because you have Alexander the Great soul and essence within you. In fact, there are particles and atoms in you right now from the body of Alexander the Great. Crazy, guaranteed it. You have atoms in your body that belong to Alexander the Great, so you can do it too. Now my other one, which is the great Austrian oak, Arnold Schwarzenegger, with his monstrous build and horrible accent, was after he retired and he won his 7th Mr. Olympia, he wanted to get into acting, and was finding it very difficult, of course, because he barely spoke English and he looked like no one had ever looked before. And he'd go to casting calls and he would walk into the casting call and he goes, you know what, I'm going to be, and many people believe I'm going to be the greatest action hero of all time. People go, what did you say, dude? And he goes, I'm going to be, many people, including me, believe I'll be the greatest action movie actor of all time. And people go, yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, you couldn't read the script next. But he kept going at it. He created the belief. He faked it. He did the classic technique, fake it till you make it, where he just went out and said, you know, everyone thinks I'm going to be amazing. You know, I'm going to be great. I'm going to learn new skills, and I'm going to push your movie franchise forward. And ultimately, Arnold was able to convince people because he generated this hype about him. Everyone heard, yeah, this crazy guy, the casting call, this crazy German or Russian or something dude. He reckons that people believe he's going to be the next great action hero. And people said, yeah, I've heard that. Maybe we should give this guy another go. So he decided what he wanted to be and then lived into it. And we all know he did that to become a politician as well. He had no right to run for governor of California, but he just decided to put on a suit and say, I'm a politician now, and when they kick the girly man out of Congress, people say, okay, if you say so. So I guess what I believe that needs to be done in this situation with the gambling is you need to fake it till you make it. You need to tell yourself that you do trust yourself and that you're not an addict until you gamble. Therefore, when you're not gambling, what are you? Well, you're not a gambler. So every second you're not gambling, you're really building an essence that you are better than what you don't want to do. And it might require faking it till you make it, but it's really important you do what Alexander did and know thyself. Don't wait for someone to save you. You must participate in your own rescue. You must make this decision now, because there's only one now. At the end of this video, that's the only moment you have to make this decision. You need to make it now, because the gambling can destroy you and it can destroy your family. You're better than that. You have the atoms of Alexander the Great in you. Alexander the Great didn't need to worry about gambling. He was out kicking ass and making an incredible world for himself. So it's time to spin the karma wheel and to share, like, or comment on this video so more people who may have trust issues about themselves can really learn on how there's people in the past and techniques in order to really trust themselves and make a difference. If you'd like a one-on-one coaching session about trust, you can Skype me and we can have a one-on-one call. The book, Zen in the City, deals with the issue of trust. It's great. You can download it from Amazon, Zen in the City. But other than that, thank you and goodbye. And the Hadron Collider will see you next time on YouTube.
Yeah.